The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, my host, Murph, my host, Parker. What's up, gentlemen?
Good evening. Good evening.
Wish it was on intro for a somber end.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
welcome to post-Bama playoff loss edition of the Couchcasters podcast. It's
indeed
a bittersweet edition, but we lost, so here we are.
So, as upset as I was and disappointed, let's call it disappointed more than upset after the game. It was one of those situations where, at the end of the day, and I think it was stated too, Michigan, I give them all the credit in the world. They caused havoc for us all day on both sides of the ball. And one of the things I was actually going to discuss, and a lot of people were, talking about, they're like, well, maybe Georgia should have been in the playoff. And I was like, well, okay. Everybody was anticipating. Everybody was anticipating us to go in there and, be able to move the ball, I feel like. Or even like FSU. People wanted FSU in there because they were undefeated. But, Georgia beat them handily over the weekend. But looking at it, Georgia prepared for us in a way that Michigan completely changed. Georgia prepared for us because they prepared for us in a way, went for like a base run defense because they didn't think they didn't think that Milroe could beat them with his arm. And Georgia paid for it. They were right. I'm saying Georgia prepared for that.
Oh, Georgia, okay. I thought you meant Michigan. I was like,
Michigan. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Georgia played it that way, and that's how we were able to win that one because I felt like we were able to utilize a lot of the throwing and running. But, to credit what I'll quote my dad on this one, he said, Michigan's game plan was this: damn the torpedoes, we're coming after them, and we're not gonna make it easy. And they did. They sacked us 5 times in the first half, and we were rattled all game. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It was like the same defensive play every time, and our O-line made him look like Ray freaking Lewis, like every single one of them. Like,
now I'll give Michigan credit. Their front seven is legit. They were moving us off the ball. I mean, even we'll talk about the last play too. Yes, a lot of miscues on the 4th and 3, but I want to take you back. Even with the crappy snap, even though Jalen went straight forward, there's a lot of detail on that, and we'll get to that later. But I want y'all to go back, if y'all ever see it, go back and watch J.C. Latham get blown up by a guy who is 100 pounds less than him. This guy is going to be a first-round draft pick, and this guy gets blown up by a guy who's 100 pounds less than him. It should not happen, but it did. It did.
Leverage is a powerful thing.
Exactly. Could it be terrible posture, terrible stance, break down lower? I don't know.
I don't know what that was. There's Fonzo.
There you go.
So, what's up?
Hello.
Yeah, I would agree with this, Liquefy. That's true. That's true.
I agree. I mean, yes, you played 2 number 1 teams back to back. You beat one by 3, and then you took the next number 1 to overtime. I find it very hard, even on Bama's one of the worst performances I've seen them play in a bowl game or playoff game. Which, since this has been around, I mean, I've seen us get whipped in some bad games. Clemson in 18 was one that comes off bat. it's just I've got a lot of grievances about how it happened, but this was a multitude of failures, not from just certain individual players, but top down. Top down.
Didn't get the game plan. That's my biggest gripe is I didn't understand the game plan. Like Roydale had 1 touch. Like Haynes only had 4 touches and he averaged 8 yards a carry. Jace averaging almost 8 yards a carry. We were moving the ball on the perimeter. They could be had on the perimeter with misdirections, with counters, attacking the perimeters. Michigan could be had there. We moved the ball on the perimeters, but we just didn't commit to it. It was almost like it was Jalen or bust. Like we're gonna we're gonna throw with him and run every play with him, and it's gonna be all Jalen, and we're gonna ride this thing all the way to the final. And then it's like we took out some of our best weapons with the running backs. We stopped using them. It was just a odd. And then 2 timeouts, and then the play for 4th down in the season. The play we came up with was a run up the middle after changing the play twice, calling timeouts. Like that was the play. Like that's the best we come up with there. I know Saban said he was thinking they were going to blitz and they were going to hit a seam. But I just didn't think attacking the strength of Michigan's defense on 4th in the season was, I mean, of course it didn't work. So it's easy to say, hey, it didn't work. Terrible tell-by. If it worked, it'd have been a great play. But I thought like maybe the fake pitch play or some type of misdirection to get Milroe where he could use his speed to outrun somebody to the corner or to the goal line or even dive or something. But just charging up the middle into the teeth of the Michigan defense was just, I didn't understand it.
When looking back at that, I'm glad you said that because I've watched that play at least a dozen times now, looking back at it in slow-mo and then in real time. And yes, liquefy. Yes, that is very, very true. So looking at it, it was not supposed to go straight up the middle. It was not. I don't know. We've harped all
blocks went left. Jalen went straight.
Well,
Roberts pulled though. Roberts pulled hard.
Yeah.
And there was a path to the end zone if he would have just followed
to the left.
He followed 77. Yeah, because he and Proctor sealed that edge off. And almost
doesn't matter ultimately because the snap is low.
Yes, and that's what it was.
Threw everything off.
Right. Low and to the right, and Jalen's already crunched down like I see Jalen Hurts in the NFL, looking like
almost on his
like
knees, trying to grab this freaking ball.
Yeah, like a catcher.
He's got his momentum going.
Pudge Rodriguez already. Back there. He's giving like the fastball sign.
Yeah, and he's got his momentum already going.
Kelsey crap for his snaps. Like I would wish we would have had that guy.
So maybe that's an issue. Like maybe I don't know much on the NFL with Jason Kelsey, but I mean the guy's a vet. He's been in the league for years, so I would say that he's earned that, even if he's got a couple snap issues here and there. But when you're, I mean, I've counted. I went back and looked all season. 35 snaps, 35 that we lost yardage of more than 5 to 7 yards. That 35 times. I saw 3 drive killers just in that game.
That will kill a drive immediately. Move all the way down the field and then 2 bum snaps, and it's 3rd and 28.
You might as well call it a turnover at that point.
I mean, I didn't get it, dude. It was just
the only team that played well.
Game plan.
Or they call it units, I guess. The only team unit that played well throughout was the special teams.
The special teams was outstanding. I mean, kept us in the game.
250s.
Burnett was booming them.
Booming over. He averaged over 50 yards a punt. That's J.K. Scott numbers, people.
And Burnett was my target in the offseason, like this guy. But, I mean, he's had a great year. He's just been consistent all year. It was just odd. The defense played lights out after that second Michigan touchdown the entire game, and in the last 7 plays of the game, after that 4th and 2 where we busted on Corum and left him all alone, and he got like 35 yards, it was just like bang, 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 touchdown.
Don't worry about covering this guy. Just let him. Just
literally, what's the best guy on the field?
That's where I was screaming at my uncle's house. I was like, "He's their best player. How do you bust on the one guy you can't bust on is him.
3
And
times.
Yeah.
there was nobody anywhere near him, like 20 yards. It was the closest part. I mean, it was just like, golly, of all the times to have a bust, and then 3-4 plays later, they're a touchdown. And overtime, it was like run, 25-yard touchdown. I was like, I mean, where's the guts? Now, Trez Marshall missed a tackle on the first down, and then Trez Marshall stuck his nose in on the touchdown, and Corum slipped outside, spun outside, and went in for the touchdown. So I was like, 17 was gaffed twice in overtime, and it cost us 25 yards and 7 points. But I don't know. When it was 20-13, I thought like, all right, this is where the defense has won games for us this year with sacks or pressure or a turnover. And just credit to Michigan, man. They just went 75 yards and really no sweat. Once they hit that fourth down play, I don't know, man. It was just weird.
I agree with Liquify. Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah, and
Poor
I'm
guy,
glad.
man.
Now,
He
here's
sucks,
the thing on
but
that.
Bless
Here's
his
the
heart.
thing. Jeff and I were talking about this prior. As much as I've talked shit about him all year, and this is for all the Bama fans out there right now, and this is just for anybody out there. Players, under the most scrutiny, that guy probably feels the worst out of everybody right now. Now, he feels absolutely terrible, but some of the things that I've been seeing out there, Twitter, Facebook, just some of the vile stuff that I see out there, leaking his address and phone number.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Wishing death to him. Dude, get a life. At the end of the day, it's a football game. Kids there's more to this than that. And that is really, it can really damage somebody, not even on the field part, but mentally. So that you need to check yourself on that one there. Everybody who's involved in that and calls themselves a Bama fan, I disapprove of that big time. Yes, the guy had what, Jeff, as you call it,
he earned the criticism.
He earned the
criticism with terrible play most of the season, and then especially last night in terms of the snaps. He earned it, but not going too far. But
just judging his game performance itself, just awful.
He deserves to be critiqued on his game performance, but once he steps off the field, that's it. Like it ends there.
That stuff drives me nuts. I mean,
if Milroe would have thrown 4 picks, Milroe would have been right in the grinder.
Yep. And he was, people ridiculed
him. Jace would have
too.
had 3 fumbles. It would have been Jace on the grinder, but it's happened to be Seth with his terrible snaps. And it happened to be on the last play of the season, bad snap. He didn't have these problems last year. I don't understand when this started. I think it was a Texas game.
Yep.
I think he got the yips after the Texas game.
Yips.
But, and then once it became a problem, it became a problem.
I mean, it's kind of like when someone's trying to shoot a basketball or golfing. When you got in your head that
baseball player that can't throw to first anymore.
Yep. When you get in your head, it's a battle, and it usually until you figure out how to get out of that, you're going to be stuck in there for a bit. So I don't know. I do wish him the best, though. I appreciate him for sticking around for so long, and then I hate that it ended this way. I think we can get a better center. I think there is one out there for us somehow, some way. I'm thankful for him and all that he did, but I'll leave it at that. Wasn't great, but
you just can't have stuff. You can't not be elite at the QB position and then have to deal with the play being missed off, the timing being thrown off because of bad snaps.
Yeah.
If that throws everything off. Now, I don't know if they're all on Seth. I mean, some of them, Milroe's not even looking, and the ball goes right by. And that's happened multiple times this year. It wasn't just like a one-time thing. But it seems like multiple times this year, Milroe's head's been turned.
This is now 2 quarterbacks that have suffered from a poor O-line.
Yes.
I'm tired of it's like a broken record conversation.
After the second sack.
This needs to be addressed.
Yes.
And I know it's in a difficult position. I'm not saying, how hard can it be to snap the ball? I get it. It's freaking hard.
Yeah.
But how is this not getting addressed?
Well, it goes
I mean,
from the top down. That's a coaching thing too. That's a
I don't think
coaching
there's
thing.
anybody else. Yeah, I mean, I think Dalcourt's. I mean, he played center last year, but like you said, Fonzie, he got beat out by McLaughlin twice.
And he had snap issues too. Like
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna defend the play of either of those two guys, but they both had snap issues.
Yeah.
Like a lot of centers do nowadays.
It's hard.
There's not many true centers that are recruited to play college football. It's a lot of guys that come over from guard or from tackle for wherever. It's a hard position. I mean, it's still inexcusable that 14 weeks into a season, still nipping us in the heels.
I agree.
And then like it's fitting. The last play of the season is a bad, low snap that throws the timing off. And I don't know if that play was designed to go up the gut or if the timing of the route, the timing of the bad snap, Milroe kind of was like, "Oh crap, I got to go." And then
I think his forward momentum was already going forward, and it was leaning this
getting
way.
Blown up in the backfield didn't help. Actually made the tackle. Yeah, he actually tackled Milroe. Latham actually got the tackle. If you really want to get technical,
if it had, I feel like it was going to be some kind of RPO play. I think I stated that. And you saw Roydell, he was hitting out of the backfield to the left. I think if Jalen didn't, he would have seen that if he's not already looking down at the ground and then has to. I mean, milliseconds we're talking about here, making sure he gets the ball and then looking up and he's like, "Crap, I got to go." So.
I mean, Roydell and Jam were two of the best players on the field against Georgia, and those guys combined for what? 4 touches?
Yes,
if that.
I think
Roydell had 1, so I don't know what.
Roydell had 1. I think Jam had 1,
3 or 4, or even maybe just maybe it's just I can't 3 or 4 plays Jam was in there on something, but like dang.
I think a lot of it's just. I think we almost over-prepared offensively. I think we sat there for a month. This is a Michigan team that has a very, very good defensive line. It's their best unit. Also one of the best pass defenses in the country. A lot of it's because of their line, but I think they went into that game thinking we were going to try to run it down their throats, line up, and push them down the field, just like we did against Georgia. It's a team that's built very similarly defensively. They're built very similarly to us. So I think we went in trying to take the top off them, hit some big plays, throw the ball downfield, and it was just never there. I mean, the routes were long. They didn't have time to develop. Milroe had to run around the pocket all day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we adjusted for a few drives, but I think honestly that's what it was. I think we were a little bit over-prepared. I think we thought about it too much. I think if we just would have relied on our linemen like we did the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy saying that now after the fact, but I think if we would have crutched on just some power run a little more, especially early on, the outcome probably would have been a little different.
It's interesting that you say that because Nick Saban was saying in interviews leading up to the Rose Bowl that you can over-prepare for a game like this where you have a month, break in between. And I wonder if he feels the same way. Like, it was almost too much time. If it was just the next Saturday, would the game have been different?
Well, if he needs an analyst,
yeah.
But but Saban's been always so good in the first game with a month to prepare. I mean, we've looked the best sans the Ohio State 2014 game, but normally that month off, we just dominate the first game, or we look always so good, but we just looked woefully unprepared last night. It was not last night, but Monday night. It was just a weird all the way around. Like, I don't know, just coverage bust, and credit to Michigan for throwing stuff at us. But I'm with Fonzie. The offense game plan was what was so puzzling to me, like the lack of commitment to the running game and attacking where we were attacking on the perimeters and actually getting yards and making plays, to not continuously keep attacking that, with even jet sweeps or whatever with our speed on the edge. Like, we just didn't try any of that. It was just weird. And then, Jalen missed a few throws. Some throws weren't there, like you said. Long routes developed, pressure in the pocket. Even the quick throws, though, Jalen missed several of the quick throws, which is not his forte. Those quick slants. The Tua pass is not Jalen's best throw.
See, and I think a lot with how defense is played nowadays, it's all so much. It's very, very complex, and that's I beat on Pete Golding for so long. The guy knows how to do prepare good defenses. However, his defenses are so complex that most players, even myself, I've seen some of the write-ups for him. I'm like, this is insanity, but it's insanely smart. It's the input of it. It's hard to get players to understand some of the complexities of it. It's very, very difficult. So sometimes you have to go, take these base defenses to, really get the best out of your players. And with some of these defenses, especially like Michigan, you have got to have quick slants. You've got to have quick passes. You can't have long, overdeveloped plays because, that's like tee shots to go off on a quarterback if your O-line's not very good. And to be fair, our O-line as a whole this year,
did not play well.
But it wasn't great, but they improved, but they weren't
They
great.
showed huge improvement until Monday. And then it was like we reverted to September. Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. And I was like, what are we doing?
Michigan, though, not many people have said this. It's driving me nuts, but Michigan is damn good.
They are. They're a
the
good
team's
team.
incredible.
I didn't give them the credit.
They are good.
We weren't going to go in there and just run them off the field. We weren't. That was never going to happen. Michigan executed better than us all day.
They were the better
team.
team.
They outcoached us. They outplayed us. Their best units shined.
Yes.
Ours played pretty well, too. Our defense stood toe-to-toe with them. To be frank, we probably didn't deserve to go to overtime in that game.
No, we probably should have lost it, especially
the fact we were only down 3 at halftime was a miracle.
Yeah.
Like
that Michigan team's
they're good.
They're
freaking good.
Their special teams was not good that night.
I'm telling you, we had them. We had them, and we let them off the hook.
I think that's what frustrates me more because there were signs of vulnerability, and we just did nothing to capitalize on.
I mean, they gave us 100%. Special teams blunders all night that we just didn't capitalize on. But to Fonzie's point, because Michigan is good, so good teams, when you turn the ball over or have a gaff or something like that, good solid teams and elite defenses bail you out. And Michigan bailed their gaffes out multiple times Monday night. So
even in their misses, we couldn't even get close enough for Will Riker to carry us. Like that's how much.
Well, and
the dude kicked 50-yarders and we still didn't do it. I mean, he kicked 2 50-yarders in that game. I was like,
he drilled 2 50-yarders. That second one I thought he missed, but he curved back maybe right back in. I was like,
that first
this
one
guy
was legit. I was like, it was like from 52 or 53, and he just kicked the crap out of it. And I was like, that's beautiful. I'm thankful for him. We're gonna miss him. We really are.
We weren't a threat enough in the running game to draw the safeties up to open up anything over the top. That's really where
and running enough.
Real Jalen
and
gash you is when you got to worry about him running or the running, and then the safeties start to cheat. That's how Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. Is then he would just throw it up over the top and let the speed go get it. And that just. We weren't enough of a threat running the ball Monday night to where Michigan had to cheat to bring the safeties in to help with the run. They were taking care of business with their front seven.
At the end of the day, they figured it out and we didn't.
They did. Credit to Harbaugh. I can't stand that dude, but I mean, he outcoached Saban in games that Saban was only lost once in that first round. So credit to Harbaugh. They came, they saw the victory of the spoils, but we had him and let him off the hook. We had him and let him off the hook. So that's what's so disappointing is as good as Michigan is, well deserving of the number 1 ranking.
And I'll say this.
We let him off the hook. We had him and let him off.
I'll say this for Michigan. I'll applaud Michigan fans. Y'all have actually been very, very cordial about everything.
Unless I missed something, they've been better than
I
the
mean,
rest of the
I've seen
fans.
more Georgia and Auburn fans than I have.
and FSU. Now,
Yes.
listen, FSU. Oh God, this is gonna rub.
No,
some
but you
people
were always
up.
going to
You know,
have that no matter who lost. They're going to say, well, I told you.
Well, here's the thing. If you wanted to tell us, here's the thing. Maybe some of your players should have had more pride if it really mattered in a.
Why isn't anyone talking about that?
Yeah.
You know, Cannell's 5-minute soliloquy on his social media never mentions one thing about the 26 players that quit on their teammates. They never say anything about that. They just say, hardy, hody home. They beat a shell of a Florida State team, but they never say because 26 of our players quit on their team.
Georgia had a ton of people out there.
Georgia had a bunch of people
Almost
out.
just as many as FSU players, and they still.
Why would you not
managed
take
to-
that opportunity to be like, all right, let's go against the best in the SEC
You could have proved your argument,
and let's go
I
toe to
would have been
toe
on
and
this
see what we
podcast
got.
saying, yeah,
See
you
where
probably
we
should have been
stand
there if
up.
you won.
Right.
Yeah,
See
and
where
I'm
we
not-
stand up as players
And
against
that's
the best.
that's what I was saying because it's pride. Actually, have some pride. Like if it means something to you, go out and show it. Show us that you did it. You're saying, oh, we're undefeated. You play in the ACC. I'm sorry, that is what it is. You have maybe 2 or 3 difficult games a year. I would give you more credit if you played in the Big Ten. We already know this. At least you'd play Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Now I know they're bringing Oregon and Washington over, and USC. But dude, be realistic. Y'all are now really in the same boat as the 2017 UCF wannabe champions, except they actually won their bowl game. So there's that. I'm not saying that Florida State didn't get screwed in some form or fashion because of what happened. I tried to say be fair about it, but guess what? Now you'll get your shot next year. Trust me.
None of it matters.
You want a
now,
shot?
'cause we'll all be in it next year. Unless they finish with 3 losses and complain that they're the 12th best team. And then we have to hear
That'll be the next best thing.
Canoodle walk around crying about how they're the 12th best team.
We're 6-6 is going to be complaining. Why are we in it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then half their
I
team
know-
quits next year too because they weren't as high a seed as they thought they should be.
Yeah.
Goes to show that did y'all I'm sorry I lost my internet there for a little bit, but did y'all talk about Kirby's comment after the Orange Bowl?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Did you
I never saw it.
y'all
It was
did
good.
talk about
You should really watch it.
But
yeah, so I mean the guy
I
said
already
with
called
the
everything
opt-out
out.
stuff, the opt-out stuff, he's like, the people in power and control for
That doesn't matter, Mark. That is a meaningless stat. But I love you anyway.
7-4. Well, that's nice when you have to
Sleep
play play Bowling Green or something like that. must be nice. Liberty, or I'm sorry, Oregon,
Fonzie, you'd like Mark, man. He's from Pittsburgh, so he's huge.
Nice.
Pittsburgh, everything.
Nice. He goes nice.
Yeah,
I'm an ACC guy though.
yeah.
He burned him with that.
He had family at Florida State, so he's got to kind of go that way. He had family graduate from Duke and Florida State. His sister and brother went there, so he's got to.
Lived in Tallahassee for 2 years.
So he rolls for them, and I'm like, it's not a good enough reason, but that's okay. He's a Steeler, loves the Penguins, so.
But yeah, and from what Kirby said and everything, he said, people, the controlling powers of college football, they need to, get a hold of this. Like with the transfer portal, the opt-outs, NIL. I think that's what he's more so referring to than just the situation because it wasn't fair to the players who act. And this is in favor of Florida State here. I'm changing tune here. It wasn't fair to those players who actually showed up and played. It wasn't fair to those fans who drove from all over to go watch their team, go play. And you're expecting, some of the players, the best players to play. This is, entertainment sports, people. This is
that'd be
people
like
watching. So I mean, I get some of the understanding about, oh, I'm trying, draft stock. I'm going to the league. I get it. But some of these guys some of these guys are just opting out and going into the transfer portal.
Whatever.
Just because there needs to be some regulation on this for opt-outs. If you can't opt out or go into the transfer portal until you have been at
the season's
2 years
over.
at that school. I'd say 2 years at the school.
Over. Yeah,
because everybody says I'm signing a commitment. There's no commitment anymore. We're Alabama and everybody else are having it's free agency, but on steroids. It's worse than the NFL.
That's all it is. Just 1 year free agent contracts.
I mean, how absurd is it that you have to now use the time to re-recruit somebody you just recruited less than 12 months ago? That's stupid. Fix it. Put the transfer portal after the national championship for the players who can go into it. If everybody
it's
wants
like
to be
free agency in the middle of the season.
It's hurting college football. It is hurting it. It's making.
Right before the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes declares he's a free agent.
Yep. We lost him.
Guessing he was.
There is a serious situation with it, though. I know a lot of it might be due to it's just young kids that are listening to their agent. They're telling them, don't even bother. It's just something has to be done with the bowl games, though. It's sad that they used to mean something and now they don't.
They're almost preseason games for next year because
I've seen more memes about the freaking Pop-Tart mascot than the actual bowl games themselves.
Yeah, or the
cheese. Most of these teams play the players that are going to play next year. Yeah. Like the freshman guys or the guys that they know are going to be the players next year. That's who plays in these bowl games now. So it's like a preseason game for next season.
And think about this. To the FSU situation. Bryce Young and Will Anderson chose to play in their quote-unquote meaningless bowl game because they knew it meant something.
That was the number 1 and number 3 picks in the draft.
The
pride and character is what that showed me. Yeah. It showed me what kind of person you are when times get tough, even if you aren't going in the playoffs. They both are. I mean, and me being a homer for Bama on this, that showed a lot of respect to me. There's been players who I knew were opting out for Alabama, and some of these. Terrell Lewis was one I remember for a bowl game that we had. I think he was.
Trayvon Diggs did too.
Trayvon Diggs too, yeah, and I get it.
Thanks for the like.
It's going to happen, but I don't know. It is. There is problematic stuff right now, and it makes me sad that this is the way.
Don't leave a month in between games.
Yeah.
Maybe you could start by starting the bowl games the next weekend.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of factors going in. I know there's finals. Like these people are students. They got to finish finals. And then there's the high school signing days. So, Saban, he's still going to high schools themselves, not doing Zoom calls. And you got to think about the transfer portal. You got to think about it, yada, yada, yada. Like there's a lot of elements going on that I know why there's a month break, but it is, I just wish it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
They need to start the season a month sooner then. So they don't have to have a month off because of all that stuff. Like college football should not be bleeding into January. Like it should be wrapped up by Christmas. Christmas break should be the championship games.
Or have it
or New Year's Day. You can have New Year's Day be the championship game, or New Year's Eve night be the championship, or something. But the football season needs to start like a month earlier, so none of this. So you don't have a reason to have this month gap.
I like that. I've never thought about that. That's a good one.
Schools would hate it.
Yeah.
Their students aren't back. Like Oregon, their students would miss 2/3 of the season because they don't go to school until September. But as far as scheduling, it'd be great. I agree with you there.
Well, guess how much money these schools make from their sports programs? It is a $100 billion business, if not more. I think it's probably more.
Yep.
I don't know. Who knows? Is he gone? Oh, we lost him. He's gone.
How you doing, Parker? How about Washington beating Texas though? That was freaking wild.
Surprising. Very surprised. I
only saw the first half. It was such a late game. It was like 8:45 when it started here.
It was an incredible game. Texas almost got him.
I saw the plays, yeah.
Penix is the real deal.
Dude, that guy's going to have a hell of a career.
Penix has a cannon on that left shoulder. I did not know he
accurate.
Could toss like that.
Hey,
Some of
that
his throws
reminds me of another lefty quarterback that we used to see about a couple years ago. So I don't know. Maybe it's something about lefties recently. I don't know.
He's got more zip on his balls than Tua had, but
I was just going to say, don't want to be the guy, but I think Penix is a little bit
got a better.
Tua was.
You got a bet. Okay, fair.
Much better.
And he lit. I looked at the stats. And he lit Texas up. He had over 400 yards passing. That was insane.
He had 255 at halftime, wound up with 430. But one of those touchdowns he threw, where he threw between two Texas defenders from like 35 yards, like a seed, man, just right through two of them for a touchdown. I was like, holy shnikes, man, that's an NFL throw right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Any chance, Fonzie, he falls to 20?
Not now. I mean –
yeah,
Gene Daniels might be there, but I think
if he balls out against Michigan, he'll go top 10. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at mocks, but we'll find out in a couple months.
Quick side road, Fonz. Do the Steelers take a quarterback if one of them's there?
Yes.
Do they pass up again?
Is Rudolph not the guy? I thought Rudolph was the guy now.
Depends who's there. I mean,
right now he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's not.
I don't want to reach in the first round.
We've done that. We just did that.
Bo Nix. If we're drafting in the middle of the first round, I'm not taking Bo Nix. It's a Kenny clone.
Yeah, well, now yeah.
It's if it's Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix or whoever else.
What other QBs?
Caleb Williams is not going to drop.
No, Caleb's going one to the Bears.
Drake May?
But one of Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, I think you got to pick up the phone.
Yes.
Right away.
Yes.
I think there's a quarterback out there this year that's going into the draft. I don't even know who it is, but there's somebody out there that's going to go under the radar and actually going to be a stud. I know these big names. It always happens. Somebody we never expected. And
Brock Purdy.
Exactly. Case in point.
But that's like a lot of it depends on the situation you go to. You know?
Exactly. So I was going to say, yeah.
Well, granted,
I mean, Purdy's got talent,
but Puka Nacua just having the game of his life, you know.
That guy's a beast.
Yeah.
I also think Mac Jones would flourish in the 49ers offense, but that's just me.
I think Mac Jones would be a good NFL quarterback in
the system that actually supports
a lot of good systems. Yeah, forgot about this guy.
Yeah,
if he still has a leg by the time he heals.
Yeah, if he gets healthy again, sure.
Now tell me again on this. And his name is Mark. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a good friend of mine. Really good.
Mark, help me out here. What? And this, I'm not being a butt when I say this. Like, what kind of injury was it? I really don't know. I knew it was a leg injury. Was it a broken leg or was it like?
Was it like a knee? Was he like torn?
Or is it a total knee? Was it like
his knee, or did he have a fractured leg or something?
I really don't know. I forgot what happened. I mean, I knew it was a leg injury.
No, it was bad, whatever it was.
Yeah,
his leg was turned sideways on the field.
Was it like a Dak Prescott thing?
Yeah.
Broken leg. Thank you, Mark.
It was
man,
gruesome, terrible.
Like,
and Mark, I don't know if you agree, but like he should not have been playing that game. That was like a high school league game that he was playing.
Was that you? That was South Alabama, wasn't it? That was South Alabama. Or UNA. North Alabama. Yeah, it was UNA.
Terry Bowden?
That game would not have
Isn't that where Terry Bowden's the coach?
Oh, man. Shit.
Isn't Terry Bowden the coach at North Alabama?
I think he is. Oh, man.
We need our statistician to confirm or deny
UNA.
that.
Wow.
So I missed earlier, but it was like the Dak Prescott type thing. Was it similar to that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all I needed.
Yeah. Terry Bowden just got fired or he resigned, I'm sorry, from Louisiana Monroe.
Okay, La Mo. He used to be at North Alabama several years ago then. La Mo taking a Bowden shot. Wow.
2008. Head coach at University of North Alabama.
How about old Rich Rod
Mickey Mouse
with the Jacksonville State University?
Hey, if I ever see Rich Rod, I'll hug him. Because if not for his dumbassery, we're not having these conversations right now.
He went to, where'd he go after that? Was it West Virginia? To West Virginia after that?
West Virginia.
Wasn't he? No, he wasn't he at West Virginia when we were going to lure him? Or was he at
he was.
Or he was at West Virginia. Okay.
Or no, I think was he?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think he was because he left after Saban's first year, I believe. He left West Virginia. So I think
he went to Arizona for a couple years or something. Wasn't he at Arizona for a couple years?
He was at Michigan. And then Arizona.
That's right. Man. Rich Rod. Praise the Lord for stupid people. Greatest moment of my life.
Made the game fun.
It made the game fun again.
Hey. And guess what? Today is actually Nick Saban Day because today is the day we signed him 17 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, January 3rd, 2007.
Everybody will remember where they were on that day.
It is funny when they show like the early clips of when he was like first starting with us. Like, man, time really has progressed, huh?
I mean, yeah, he's a young buck.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at 2009. Look at when he won the first championship.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I look at that one and I'm seeing him. He looks pissed off. Got Gatorade thrown all over him. And
oh man, y'all remember how mad he was when he got
so pissed.
Gatorade bath right after winning the championship?
So pissed. Couldn't be happy.
Oh man, he was so fired up. All right, here's some numbers for you on this anniversary. Nick Saban, 206 and 29 overall at Alabama. That's okay. And 6 of those 29 have come in the last 3 years. 120 and 18 in conference games. That's ridiculous. 18 SEC losses in 17 seasons. That's
nuts.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. 45 first-round picks. 123 total draft picks. 4 Heisman winners, 9 SEC championships, 6 national championships. That's stupid. 18 SEC losses in 17 seasons. I think Mike Shula had that in 3.
Yeah, you're actually right.
Because I was there for every GD one of them. And one year I had season tickets and was at the games for half of them.
Is that the one where we want to say, did we lose to
2006.
Hawaii? Did we lose to Hawaii?
That was 2003.
5? Oh.
No, that was 2003. Yes, because we were on probation, so they scheduled the game against Hawaii as like a fake bowl trip. And I believe I think Shula took him out there in 03.
That's up there with the...
Even though we finished like 4 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's right behind... Got to be the Louisiana Monroe loss. Hawaii.
Well, we were already dog manure. The La Mo was surprising because it was Saban, but it was the same team that sucked the year before. So
right.
It had a couple guys in it, like Rolando was in there, so some things were on the upswing. But 08 when he got a whole a 30 new crop of his players is when the change really. So.
Rolando wasn't one of his recruits, right?
Yes, he was his first one.
He was his first one. Okay.
I believe that's the first signing he made was Rolando McClain, like right after he got off that airplane. at Tuscaloosa Airport in his gray suit. And that lady kissed him on the cheek. Legend.
Good Lord, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah, 17 years, man. That's nuts. My daughter wasn't even born when he got hired. I remember that day. I'll never forget that day because my dad had said that Saban was the guy. And I remember telling my dad, you are crazy. You're crazy. He almost like Saban's conference. I was like, he's not going to be the coach. Like, let this thing go. It's not happening. Did you not hear him yesterday at the press conference? He's not coming. And then a couple hours later, whatever, this is back when ESPN News, still had it was the old ESPN News format.
Best way.
Flipped it over to that, and it was breaking news. Alabama hires Nick Saban, and I just remember my jaw hit the floor. I mean, I just was like, "What?" And then a few years later, hearing Mal Moore tell that story when I was the Red Elephant Club when he came to Win Lakes. He was the guest speaker at one of the functions. He told that story of how he got Saban to agree and. Slept in his car outside his house, parked outside his house and sat in his car for several hours and slept in his car and waiting for him to come out so we could talk to him. And it was like, if I didn't come home with Nick Saban, I wasn't going to come home. There was no home for me to come home to if I didn't come home with this guy. And said he got him on the plane, and Nick looked him in the eye and said, I can coach, but I'm nothing without good players. And
yeah, what's his full quote? I learned pretty quickly that I can't coach bad players, but I'm pretty good at coaching good players.
Pretty good at coaching good players. Funny how that works. You get bad players in, you get exposed, Belichick.
Yeah.
So,
can I say a quick side note? That just because the NFL numbers kind of made me think about it, is that I think it's a testament to Nick Saban's career how if you were to tell me at the beginning of the season that Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper would be the dynamic duo for the Cleveland Browns, I would say, is this 2010?
Dude, the Browns are a threat. Okay.
Yeah.
Their defense is real. And
Dude,
Flacco,
when I saw Amari Cooper's name come out, I was like, holy cow, I forgot. And I was like,
Flacco's like that regular season guy that you want to kill yourself, but then he gets in the playoffs and he's just,
my
for whatever
man was
reason,
sitting on the couch in the beginning of the season.
Right. So now Cleveland's got a Super Bowl winning quarterback who had one of the best postseasons of all time. If you go look at his postseason numbers that year, leading a team with the best defense in the league, gave up the least amount of points, and they got an explosive playmaker at receiver in Amari.
Yeah.
No Nick Chubb, 4 quarterbacks, no Nick Chubb. Jerome Ford is a running back, for crying out loud. And they're 11-5. Playoffs, clinched a playoff berth.
Are they going to be facing off with the Ravens? Because that'd be funny.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be so funny.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know, Fonz. Is Mason going to lead us to the playoffs Sunday?
Doesn't matter if nothing else helps us.
Helps us.
I mean, we don't control our destiny.
Kind of makes me wonder.
Kenny's kind of upset.
Man.
He's like, I'm healthy now.
Yeah. No, you're fine, Kenny. You're not dressing out. But my shoulder's fine. No. You need another couple of weeks. When's the season over? Kind of makes me wonder why we wasted
him up for multiple draft picks, people.
Like, why did we waste 2 games with Mitch and lost to Arizona and New England at home?
Yep.
Like, why did we waste those games with Mitch? Like,
Mitch was hard to watch. Holy cow.
I mean, Mason, I'm not saying Mason looks like Tom Brady, but the dude is functioning in the offense. And I think a big reason, Fonz, is because he's throwing to George Pickens.
Well, they're getting George Pickens open somehow too. Like,
I mean,
Mason's good. He's perfectly serviceable. I wouldn't throw all my money on him to be the guy, but
me either.
That's all we needed. Just some stability back there. Someone that will stay in there and make the throws. He hasn't been given a fair shot. his
Agreed.
first start of his career, he got his helmet blown off by Earl Thomas. We know how that went with, Duck Hodges and everything
when did
else.
Myles
And then
Garrett
later in the season,
try to
Myles
attack
Garrett
him?
assaulted him.
Yeah, that was it. That season. What season?
Yeah,
was
that
it?
was the same season because Ben was hurt. That was the year Ben blew his elbow out, so he was out all year.
2018, 2019?
That was 19, I think.
19, yep.
Okay, because I was like, I remember Mason Rudolph starting a couple games, a couple years ago, and then Myles Garrett wanted to assault him with a helmet. So nobody can forget that. That
was wild.
Embedded in my head.
I'll never forget watching that live. That was
still
nuts.
playing. The guy assaulted a guy with a helmet. A guy is still in the league.
I mean, he's about to win Defensive Player of the Year, even though he has less stats than TJ Watt in every category. But it's for a different discussion. But yeah, so that was like, the freaking Browns lost their running back. They're on their fourth quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's insanity.
My man
But
Joe
coaching
Flacco
staff,
catching
good.
naps on the freaking bench. That one game.
Did you
Like
see his
jaw hanging open.
today? Did you see his statement today?
What was it?
It's like, what would you tell, how does it feel being one of the older guys in the locker room? And he said, well, if I had made any kind of mistakes in high school, the duck from Stanford, he said, well, if I'd made any mistakes in high school, one of these guys might be one of my kids. Because he's one of I was like, Jesus, Joe.
That's like Drake Kirkpatrick's son being on the team next year.
That's
wild.
Insane.
I know Trent Richardson had like 3 kids when he was signed at Alabama. Like, he already had 3 kids, like when he walked in the door at Alabama, or already had a couple of kids.
Any of them play football?
I don't think so.
Damn.
I don't think so. So, yeah, it's weird, man. Tomlin got his winning season again, so they can keep propping that narrative up, even though that's not really the standard in Pittsburgh. It's playoffs and Super Bowls, but somehow Tomlin moved the needle back to 9-8 or 8-8 is a successful season. I'm not sure how he did it, but
Is that what they're at now? 8-8?
they're 9-7. So if we win, we'll be 10-7, and if like 3 other things have to happen for us to get in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
but the fact Mason is playing quarterback, we have a shot to win.
I will say good for him. That's a good story.
That's a good story. That he could have told Tomlin to go F himself, a long time ago, not dressing out for 2/3 of the season for Mitch Trubisky, who is hot garbage. And when your number's called, he just answered the bell. And then here we are with a playoff spot on the line. We have to win. If we don't win, we don't get in no matter what happens. So in order for all these things to line up, the Steelers have to win. So the must-win game, he goes with Mason, which I think is the absolute right call, man. Kenny is atrocious. Maybe he'll be better next year.
Well, that's what you said, Jeff. I don't
maybe he'll be better next year.
The NFL stuff.
He is ass this year.
That's professional. When your number's called and this is what you're paid to do, what do? You get out there and show up and do your job. That's what you do.
Well, and what ticked me off, Bonds, is now maybe I heard this out of context, was Kenny's interview when they asked him, did you learn anything from watching these guys play or whatever? And he just was like, nope. Like, I don't know if I heard that out of context or if I just heard that clip.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people kind of ripping him for it, and I'm not exactly a Kenny supporter, but at the same time,
I didn't want to rip him.
At least he's honest. He got hurt and he's on the sideline for 2 weeks. Like, I'd rather him not just give me a fluffy answer that says nothing when he just answers the question.
I'll give you that.
And
I held judgment for that because I didn't know the context of the interview and whatever. I'm not a Kenny fan, but I wasn't going to attack him for that until I kind of knew the whole context of it. But probably wasn't the best thing to say, but at this point, honesty is the best.
Yeah,
at this point, honesty is the best. I respect that.
It's typical Pittsburgh media, like negativity.
Yeah,
it's like let's write the narrative. This guy's
Already.
the worst.
Since we're on Steeler news, how I know Najee was having a rough couple first games.
He had a
What's
great
looking like?
game last
So
Sunday.
he's
He had a
Yeah, he did really well.
awesome. Dude, go Google some of his highlights, Parker. Like, not only did he had 120 yards and a couple of touchdowns, go look at his touchdowns. Like that one, Fonzie, what did he drag like 6 guys with him into the end zone from like the 5-yard line or something like that?
Yeah.
Like on one leg, he's dragging him on one leg into the end. I mean, it was insane touchdown runs. Agreed, Mark. That was the first round version of Najee that we've been seeing flashes of, but really no consistency in. Of course, this offense isn't built for consistency or holes or blocking or anything like that. But Mason Cole is the Seth McLaughlin of the NFL. I mean, that guy's snaps are all over the place. He is so awful. Like, they got to get a new center. He's pretty bad.
But when we're able to throw the ball, it opens up the run game a ton.
Yes.
Najee Harris and Jalen Warren can carry this team if we just get competent quarterback play consistently.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And Mason's not lighting up the scoreboard. It's not like he has 9 touchdowns in 2 games. He has 2. One game he didn't have any. But, 23 of 30 for 270 yards, no turnovers. Like, that is if we get that from our quarterback, we're going to win games.
Well, there's a lot of drives I've noticed too with Mason back there that it's just one big play, but we keep moving. It's like an 8-play, 70-yard drive with a 45-yard pass mixed in there. So we're inching to the end zone once we get down there. But with Kenny, it's just you're not getting the deep ball. Someone's gonna have to break loose. That's not gonna happen with our play design and the way our offense is ran. So
right.
You just got to hope you get a first down so the defense can catch their breath.
So y'all had mentioned drafting earlier for the Steelers. So that makes me curious. So I know you said maybe off spot, maybe a quarterback drafting in the first round. If not a quarterback, what do the Steelers need? Y'all, the Steelers guy, y'all. I mean, obviously every team has its needs, but what do y'all think? I mean, I don't know. I don't watch enough NFL. I'm
more on the defensive side than the offensive.
I still think you got to build out the line a little bit.
Yeah,
I think we got to get someone inside, particularly at center. But
agreed.
Linebacker, I think we got to take a hard look at a linebacker early. Hard look at a corner, maybe.
And like middle linebacker or outside linebacker?
Middle. Our edge is set.
Okay.
Probably G-line too.
So wait, is TJ Watt now? This is me being very bad at it. I know he's kind of like a hybrid almost, but is he considered a defensive end or an outside linebacker? Outside linebacker. Okay.
He's a stand-up. You don't see him in the stance a ton.
Okay.
Consider it, although isn't it Fonzie? Isn't it more like an edge now? Isn't it like a position
it's
now?
All
it's like
edge. It's like Myles Garrett plays with his hand in the dirt, but him and TJ essentially play the same role.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's edge is everything now. There's really no true like outside linebackers left. The middle linebackers do all the coverage. The gaps.
Pretty much right. The edge guys have one job. They just rush the quarterback. That's it.
Yep.
Now, some of them you can move around, like Myles Garrett can be moved around in different spots. And, Cam Hayward's almost like the last of a dying breed of like really interior linemen that are like a threat, a pass rushing threat, and not just body cloggers,
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting up there. So, defensive line depth is always something the Steelers need. But I think quarterback and offensive line is crucial in this draft. And then, of course, the inside linebacker stuff is crucial as well. But all our money is on defense. So I think we need to build up the offense, spend a little money on the offense, get some speed and some skill, or get an OC that knows how to use Calvin Austin, who runs like a 4.29, but we don't know how to turn him loose.
He had a couple nice plays against the Bengals.
Okay.
He did.
And he had that one nice deep ball earlier in the year, so it's there.
Yeah, I was going to say it took us 17 weeks to figure him out, but
late than ever.
That's how Tomlin like to do it.
I just don't understand how we go a whole season and we don't just stick him in the slot and find a way to get him open. Like, I know he's probably not the most durable guy because
it's Matt Canada,
5'7",
right?
but
yeah,
Canada's gone, but drag route, a little, just a slant, something across the middle. Just give him a quick ball.
Give him a mismatch. Get him in space. He's not Tyreek Hill, but watch the Dolphins offense and how they move Tyreek Hill all over the place, man. That guy's in the backfield. He's in the slot. He's on the outside. Like, I'm not saying he's going to produce like Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill is a once-in-a-generation type player, but you can do things with guys like that are fast and quick. Just, watch teams that do it well. And Miami does it very well, but then again, we don't have the quarterback to deliver some of those throws that like Miami does. But, who knows? But if we don't do it, we'll never take advantage of him. So I know for a fact that if we don't ever throw him the ball, then he'll never break one.
Yep.
So, that I can guarantee you.
Speaking of Matt Canada, like, who's his, like, current, like, I guess, interim or replacement, or is there kind of like a future for who's going to be taking that position?
We're going to find one in the offseason. Right now, it's our quarterback coach. And
so, though, he got fired.
Pete Faulkner.
Yeah, he's done. Like
no, Canada got fired.
He's been fired.
I'm sorry. So that's how irrelevant I've not been paying attention in NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember he got moved to another situation or another position for a hot minute or something, and then he was. That's all I heard about it. Okay, cool. Well, that's good for the Steelers because Matt Canada was dog doo-doo.
Go back to episodes. One of those episodes I opened up. The first episode I was wearing sunglasses because I was celebrating the fact that Matt Canada got fired that day.
That's right. That's right. My apologies.
We were celebrating the episode of the end of the Matt Canada era, which happened about 2.5 years too late. Apparently Tomlin's the only one that couldn't see that. But he finally did, so it is what it is. But I don't know, man. I think Washington's going to blow out their whole staff, so Bieniemy is going to be out there. I don't know if he was a product of Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, or if it was the other way around, if the Chiefs' offense was a product of his play calling or Andy Reid and his play calling. So, I thought Tomlin should have hired him last year. Should have had Flores at DC and Bieniemy at OC.
Who do y'all think is the realistic replacement for the job versus the dream person for the job? If you, in your opinion,
I think the three guys they're going to call first
for OC
are going to be Cliff Kingsbury,
yes,
Leftwich,
yes,
and T. Martin.
T. Martin, okay.
Where is T?
He's at the Ravens. He's with the Ravens.
Is he like a QB coach
QB
or something?
Coach. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think those will
like
be the three guys.
The dream guy to get, or
I don't know. I think my opinion will change as information is released. I don't know what front office plans or,
I love all three of those. Well, I don't know much about T. Martin. I know he played for us or was on our practice squad.
Is that where? Okay, so he has a history. Okay.
The same T. Martin that played at Tennessee?
Yeah. I mean, he went undrafted. He never played in the league, but I know that he was on the Steelers either as a third string or a practice squad guy for a couple of seasons or a season or two or something like that. But I love the Kingsbury, even Leftwich. I mean, I don't know how much of a product of Tom Brady he was, but he's been begging for the job, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Just in comments and interviews, I feel like he's just been begging, like, let me come back and call plays, man. So it's a very interesting thing. Tomlin has to go outside. He can't just promote from within again. He can't just do that again. because then it's just the same problem. That was the
There's
issue
no
when
one
they
to promote.
right.
It's
Well, when
like-
they fired Fichtner and promoted Canada, my fear was it's going to be the same offense. They're the same guy, the same offense, coaching the same offense together. Like there's not going to be any change in the offense, and there really wasn't.
it was worse.
So do you think, like you, Scott, you said Cliff Kingsbury.
I love that hire. I would love that hire.
So do you think he would? He was a former head coach, right? He was with the Arizona Cardinals, right? If I'm not mistaken,
and Texas Tech.
and Texas Tech. Do you think he? I mean, he's been a head coach in the NFL. So do you think he would be willing to take an offensive coordinator position? I mean, he's about to he's getting paid a boatload to do nothing right now. So
Why wouldn't he? I mean, he
Why
didn't.
not?
He
I don't
didn't
know. I mean,
succeed in Arizona. I just think if he's not getting a head coaching job in the NFL, his next job is not going to be a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Agreed.
so okay, so that helps me because I really don't know enough about the guy to say, because I knew he was a head coach at Arizona, so I was like, okay, well the guy's got to be doing pretty well. He's got to be doing good for himself. Got to know some stuff as far as being elaborate with schemes and whatnot. But I didn't know much about him, and then I saw his buyout and or whatever it was when
He was Patrick Mahomes' coach at Texas Tech. So Mahomes threw for like 5,500 yards in Kingsbury's offense. They lost like 4 or 5 games because they couldn't stop a nosebleed. But when O'Brien left, I was praying and begging for Kingsbury to be the OC, the next OC. And then he took his buyout, and next thing I know, he's tweeting a picture of himself in like Cabo or something. And I was like, well, he's probably not going to be on campus in the next week drawing up plays. So that's gone. But that's who I wanted.
Yeah.
That's who I wanted.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So if we hire him at Pittsburgh, I'd be happy. Or if Reese leaves and we hire him at Tuscaloosa, I'd be ecstatic at either spot.
That'd be a good one.
Either or.
Either or, and I'm happy.
Steelers or Alabama.
Steelers or Bama, I'm good. I don't
Anywhere.
give a piss about nothing but the tie.
Oh my gosh, I've got
Blitz,
to.
Bama, blitz.
Did y'all see the thing that Tua was doing today about that with the blitz, Bama blitz? Oh my god, I've got to send y'all this. It is hysterical. It is. It's
Roll Tide Willie. Shout out to Roll Tide Willie.
Yes. Shout out to Roll Tide Willie. I don't give nothing about a piss about the Tide. I loved it. It was
I don't
fantastic.
give a piss about nothing but the tie.
I watched him a couple years, like 2 years ago, like when that first video came out, and I was like, "Oh my
Man, he
gosh,
cracks
this is
me up.
Alabama stuff right
That guy
here."
cracks me up. Oh man, his video clips crack me up. So who do you guys got in the championship game? Michigan, Washington. Figure we're an hour and 10 minutes into it. We ought to talk about it.
Go Huskies. Pac-12 is dead. Long live the Pac-2.
Poetic justice. The Pac-12 wins the championship on their way out as they dissolve into the end of Avengers Infinity War. The Pac-12 just dissolves.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough to support it because guess what? With teams leaving conferences now, the conference gets to keep the money. So if Washington were to keep it, whatever's left of the Pac, whatever it is,
Pac-2 would split like 150 million.
Yes, and then they could be like, well, I mean,
like 75 million each. Sucks for you guys. Normally, it's payouts like 2.5 million. We got 75 each this year. That's money payouts. It won't matter. It's going to be. There's going to be. This whole conference shifting is only going to be a short stretch of years, and then it's going to be a giant, big boy conference anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's going to wind up looking a lot like the NFL, even though they won't say it's like the NFL, but they're going to pattern it very similar to that.
I think the ACC is the next one on the chopping block. If FSU can convince like a Clemson or some other
once
team
FSU and Clemson are out, that conference is dead.
Or even Miami. Like if FSU convince Miami, come with us, go to some other conference, that'll be the end. And then it'll come down to 2 conferences.
Miami's biggest disadvantage is that, they're a private school. if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's a lot harder to get into than a lot of people, can actually consider. So with everything with the changing and stuff, I do agree. I think they bring a lot to the table. But the Florida State Clemson, those were the ones that I really think that are going to be the pushing points, and then everybody starts scattering. I could see us picking up. I know I would like to say we could pick up Florida State, but I really don't know. Maybe a Clemson and Florida State go to the Big Ten. I don't know. I really don't know if the ACC.
Bring Mizzou, FSU would have made sense. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't know if we want to expand. I genuinely don't.
I think we're good where we're at.
Looking to add.
Yeah,
right now.
they need to remove a couple and add in Florida State.
The ones realistically, the ones we want to remove are not going to go anywhere because they're grandfathered in, essentially.
Yes, Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
I mean, Missouri got no business being the SEC. That's a joke.
But I will say, Mizzou this year actually kind of proved, to be in the SEC. They had a great season.
They did have a good
Let me
season.
correct myself on the Vanderbilt part. I know I did say that. Vanderbilt football, Vanderbilt basketball, and baseball has. I mean,
they've proven another. Yeah,
basketball's down. I know baseball's been very good over the past 10 years. So
I mean, baseball's been good for a while there.
Yeah.
You're in Nashville, Fonz. Does it get hype during college baseball season? Vanderbilt baseball? Is it really nothing?
To an extent, I'd say, but I wouldn't say the city really backs them.
Rallies behind the Bandies.
It's a huge city, so they get enough support. They do very well. It's just there's not 30,000 people in the street trying to get into the games.
Right.
I think it's just there's so many SEC fans from different schools in the city that there's just not many Vanderbilt sports fans. There's not many Vanderbilt alum. There's not, it's a different atmosphere than the schools they compete against.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I hope Washington wins too, although Michigan's really flipping good. I'd like to see how their defense stacks up against a real passing threat.
And the best offensive line in the country.
And a good offensive line or a scheme that doesn't put their offensive line in positions to fail.
Fair. Very fair.
Which is what I thought we did, was set our linemen up to fail, especially after the second sack. We should have scrapped our entire thought process.
I'm rooting for Penix, though. All jokes aside, that guy's the real deal.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he's a beast. I would be doing backflips if somehow he fell to wherever the Steelers draft and they picked him. I don't think it's going to happen, especially if he goes off against Michigan and they win it all and he's the MVP and throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns or whatever. He'll immediately go into a lottery pick.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm thinking either. There's only 2 choices. I would say Michigan, just because I've seen that defense, but that offense for Washington is something else. I think the biggest point on it is probably what the Washington offensive line can do against that D line for Michigan. That'll be the telling point at the end of it for me.
Yeah.
And not about Penix. I know how good Penix is, and I know how good Corum is, too, for Michigan. And I know JJ actually showed me some stuff, too. So it'll be interesting.
Did y'all know JJ and Tyler Booker were high school teammates?
IMG Academy.
IMG.
Is that where they were? Okay.
Yep.
Jihad Campbell, too. He may not have been there when they were there, but I didn't know that was IMG. But I saw a clip of them.
Football players.
Of Booker and
they have no classes.
McCarthy hugging last night after the game, or Monday night after the game.
Go win it all, or go finish the job, or whatever it was.
Yeah, so I had no idea that's where they both played. I guess I didn't realize Booker was from IMG. I knew Jahad Campbell was.
I mean, there's a lot of guys from IMG. It's not,
I think the list is quite long.
Football players, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah,
they don't even go to class. It's
I
wild.
don't even think
Y'all
they
need to
have
if y'all haven't watched, y'all need to watch that BS High when they went against
I watched
IMG.
it. I watched it.
So good.
That was great. That's
Yeah.
when I found out Jahad Campbell played in that game against BSI.
Yeah.
He was, because one of those highlights they showed, he made a tackle, and I was like, "Oh snap!" That was a man. That coach for that BSI still doesn't think he did anything wrong. Like,
what a
that's
sociopath!
What a psycho. Agreed.
He got arrested
100.
for like stealing from like a Best Buy or like a Target or something like that.
Insanity.
Just has zero remorse.
None. Ruined kids' lives.
Remember, like his whole excuse was like, "Well, they thought they had a future, so didn't I do a good thing?" Like,
yeah, complete sociopath. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Just like a literal narcissist, if you've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, you guys got anything else to add before we wrap up the show? I think Washington's going to win. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Penix is going to make a play that we couldn't, and Washington's going to sneak out with it.
I would love it, but I don't feel.
Having said that, if Michigan won, I wouldn't be surprised either. I would come on here and be like, "Well, that was clearly the best team." So,
yep.
I was feeling a Bama-Texas matchup, but that didn't happen either.
I was
so
too.
Anything's possible.
I'm so glad Texas lost, though. I was going to be miserable
Yeah.
if Texas was in the finals in the championship game. I was going to make me sick. So I'm glad they lost too. So at least,
I'm glad I don't have to see Sarkisian holding the trophy. So
yeah. So yeah, it's. We'll see. Now we get to focus on basketball. I think we're 7-5 going into conference play, which starts
playing Vandy Saturday, right?
Saturday, I believe. Conference play starts. So here we go with basketball season. This will be a fun ride.
What is it about the basketball team? Like it's like every other year we're like relevant.
I know. This will be the 19 and 14 year before we
Next year is going to be something to talk
year.
about.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. All right, cool. Well, looking forward to the championship game, and then reconvening next week where we can talk about that and talk about some other stuff.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe. Thank you. So let me get back over here. But yeah, roll Tide forever, guys. Good to see you. See you guys next week.
Roll Tide.